Alrighty Booktube, Nikki here. Guess what? It is July 29th and I'm filming my July wrap up before July has ended. Filming my video on time, which is something that most other booktubers achieve without trying. So if this video isn't uploaded on time, past me is gonna be super mad with future me because past me, she's done her bit. So today I'm just gonna chuck at you all the books that I read in July, including the books that I read for Booktubeathon, which was abstractly successful. So I didn't actually do any of the video challenges, but I did film a stack of videos that I can catch up and upload. I also read 5 books, but 3 of those were graphic novels. I'm gonna go with my usual bit of starting from my lowest, going to my highest rated book of the month, because that's exciting and stuff. I did though read 2 Animorphs books this month. 2! That's not helpful. I have to read 64 of these. 22 plus 3. I've read 25 of these. One of these was for Booktubeathon. It was the challenge to only read a book after sunset. I didn't have any 1 or 2 star rated books this month, which is yay, but I did have some 3 stars, so I'm going to start with those. First off was for the Booktubeathon, and that was a book that was older than me, so I picked The Green Lantern Chronicles Volume 1. These were published like yonks ago. These were the first Green Lantern comics ever published, and they were published between 1959 and 1960, I believe. So they're pretty old school, which is reflected in the art. They're Silver Age comics, so it kind of gives us a skeletal origin story for Green Lantern, for Hal Jordan, how he got his powers. He's quite similar to Superman. There's a girl named Carol that he really likes, who likes Green Lantern, but not Hal Jordan. Lois, Superman, Clark Kent. But it works alright, and it's not as sexist or racist as I thought it was gonna be for a Silver Age comic. That sounds bad, but this is a product of its time, so it does rely on stereotypes, I'm gonna say. There's not really an overarching plot present in this one, but I was kind of surprised at how strong some of the science fiction elements were. There were some really interesting concepts in this, so I gave it 3 stars overall. I'd recommend this for Green Lantern fans who are just curious about what the first comics look like. But I'm not gonna like pick up more of these and continue on the journey. I'd rather pick up some more recent Green Lantern stuff. I've heard that Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run is amazing. I'm pretty sure that's Kyle Rayner though. Another challenge for Booktubeathon was to read a book that Booktube introduced to you. And for that I picked up Lumberjanes by Noelle Stevenson and Grace Ellis and some other creators. This is a story of 5 girls who are Lumberjanes, basically like Girl Scout but a little bit different, and they're in this forest and weird things start happening, and it's very, very overwhelmingly positive and fun. I kind of really expected to enjoy this a lot more than I did, but I can see how other people would really enjoy this. The art style is super colourful and very fun. Dialogue's like chirpy and snappy, which is fun. I don't think that I could tell you the names of these characters if I tried. I think that one's April, and one of these is Molly and one of these is Mal, right? It's not for lack of trying, but I never really connected to these characters, unfortunately. As soon as you start off, weird things are happening. It's very rushed. We meet the characters very quickly. The mysterious events are packed on top of each other. That sounds really fun, but I found it really overwhelming. There wasn't much nuance to the plot. Like even visually, the panels are just really full, and where possible, the artists have like drawn in every character in every panel. That said, I think I would have enjoyed this more if I'd read it as like a webcomic or maybe issue by issue, because it would have been in small snippets of fun rather than a volume of just full on, full steam ahead. And I'm sure that my description of this makes it sound super appealing to people who just want something fun. It is quirky and bright and fun, and the art is really great. This next book was my comic book TBR pick of the month. I read Buffy Season 8 Volume 1, The Long Way Home. I forgot the title. This is of course by Joss Whedon, and the art is by Georges Yanti. I'm pretty sure that's how he pronounces his name. I love Georges Yanti and his art. Oh my gosh. He did the covers for Felicia Day's 2 Guild comic books, and I have 2 of those prints signed by him, and he also signed my big Buffy volume and drew a picture in it, and it's amazing. And he does an awesome job of drawing these characters close enough to their television likeness, but also with a signature style for the comic book. This book picks up a little bit after where season 7 of the show left off and introduces us to a whole bunch of different plot ideas, and there's a lot of fun. It's quite clear that Joss Whedon enjoyed not having to rely on actor availability, budgeting, network approval. He just like hit the cray button and took the series to level 9,000. I have read this before. I believe I've read volume 1 and volume 2, but that's about it, so I'm rereading them so I can continue. I did rate this 4 out of 5 stars because I did find at times that the dialogue was a bit of a letdown. Buffy speak and Whedon speak are like iconic. I always compare good dialogue that I read to Joss Whedon, and it just wasn't here in this one. There were some times where characters said things and I was like, that's really out of character. It wasn't a huge, massive overriding thing, but it was noticeable, and it did take me out of the plot a couple of times. I was like, wait, what? But I'm very much looking forward to continuing this. I definitely don't recommend reading this unless you've watched the TV show. Next, we've got the super shiny Third Time Lucky, the 3rd book in the Princess Diaries series by Meg Cabot. I read this for the challenge of read a book by one of your favorite authors, and this one definitely didn't disappoint. I really love Mia Thermopolis. Her life is a little bit crazy. She's found out that she's a princess. She's just trying to get through her exams and school and stuff, stuff, and also she's got princess lessons, and her best friend is a little bit weird, and this one just kind of accidentally ended up with a boyfriend, which sounds really dumb, but I understand her so much because she's so polite, she's so self-aware that this is a bad situation that she's in, but she doesn't know what to do because she's a nice person and exams are coming up and she doesn't want to break this boy's heart before exams because that's really heartless. But what can you do? I think as much as this series could be about boys in lipstick and dresses and oh my gosh, my hair looks weird, although there are some of those moments in there, it's also about Mia worrying about being a good daughter and a good student and a good friend, because this could be such a two-dimensional series, but it's really not. I did give this one 4 stars, and this one was a little bit more boy heavy, but it was so worth it for the ending. Oh my gosh. To be honest with you, I still am not 100% set on the rating for this next book, because I did it, you guys. I did it. I finished The Raven Boys, The Raven Cycle, The Raven Life. I read The Raven King by Maggie Stiefvater. I don't even know what to rate this. I'm not going to talk about the plot because you've probably heard it 1,000 times, and this is the 4th book, so I'm not even spoiling anything for anybody, okay? Not today. But I just love this series. I love how vivid each of the characters are, because the plot is super weird and out there or whatever, but you just have these characters who are so like real. You could reach out and touch them, though that would be weird. So you could just say, hey man, and give them a quick high five. That's probably more my speed. The writing is just so consistently beautiful, and there's just these weird concepts that I'm so glad she explored. I can see how some people are a little bit disappointed at the ending. This isn't like my favorite ending of a series ever, but I like the way that she put together this story, and there's so many different threads, and there's like the main characters, and there's this thread that starts off but then suddenly gets cut off and it doesn't go where you think it's gonna go, and it's actually not as important as we all thought. And there's this other thread that's been hanging there the whole time, and suddenly it gets drawn in and knotted with some other element, and in the end not all of the threads are fully tied up. Some of them are cut off, some of them are just left hanging, and I really like that. And it makes the world feel so dimensional, and it mirrors life in a way. I think this would make a fantastic television show because so many of those threads could be explored, and you could just have such a deep series. I don't know about movies, but I'm a TV show person anyway, because weird TV shows, they're the business right now. Stranger Things, haven't watched it, but I've heard it's weird. There's that Hemlock Grove show, which has the guy from Degrassi in it, but I haven't watched it yet either. I don't know, spoopy weird shows everywhere. I think this would make a good one. So I think at the moment this is 4.5 stars, but that could change. My feelings change like the wind. Just read it and decide for yourself. I think Blue Lily Lily Blue was my favorite book in the series. This is actually the first book that I read in the month, and it's called Chapter 1 by Daniel Flynn. I got his name right. I thought I didn't, so I stuffed that take, but I'm gonna keep it in. This is written by one of the founders of Thank You, previously known as Thank You Water. Thank You is a charity that started out selling bottled water as an alternative to other bottled waters when you were at like 7-Eleven or whatever and you're thirsty. And if you bought Thank You Water, 100% of the profits went to water projects in places where people don't have access to clean water, which is cool. They've actually now expanded to food for like food projects, soap and body wash and stuff for sanitation projects, and just recently they've launched their like nappy range and baby range for mothers and children to be supported around the world, which is just awesome. Also, their muesli bars are the freaking best, and their hand wash and sanitizer. Smells so good. Anyway, in order to fund their expansion into the world of mother and child and nappies and stuff, they released this book called Chapter 1, which you could buy at your own price. You could choose the price. You can actually probably still do that. I'll chuck the link below. Also, you can buy them at any Australian airport. This book just talks about how they did what they did, because they're 100% independent. They don't have like shareholders or anything. And it's called Chapter 1 because it's kind of their start. It's not like, I'm Richard Branson and here's how I became successful, so can you. It's like, we made a bunch of mistakes and it's been not as what we thought it was going to be. It's more about challenging the way that you think about things and the way that you measure success. The book is published this way, so you actually read it like this, which is, I thought, was going to be the most annoying thing in the history of the world. But guess what? That's like an A4 page. How quickly do you read A4 pages? Pretty quick. So I actually read this faster than I thought I would. It's very cool. It's very readable. I really loved how it shared all of their failures as well. And I'm really interested in effective and practical charities and ways to help people. And this was really telling about that. There's a chapter where they talk about how they didn't fund as many wells as they thought they were going to fund. So they went to visit one of their project partners and visit one of the wells, and they went and they were like, oh cool, this is a well. We did make some difference, even though it was a little bit. And then the guy turns around and he's like, there's a well over there and there's a well over there. Why did we build a well here? This seems like a waste of money. The project partner was like, no mate, that well over there was built in the wet season. It's currently the dry season, so it's empty because they built it in a stupid place. That well over there, when they were building that, they ran into some poison underground. So nobody can use that or they'll die. Well. Been waiting the whole video to make that pun. Like, even though these guys were doing things that on the outside looked less effective than other charities, they looked like they were spending more money on research and development. But you know, those other two charities that built those other two wells, by the numbers, they've ticked that off. They've built a well. Whereas these guys, their view of success was a little bit different. Like, not to slag off any other charities, he doesn't even say which charities built those two wells. But I really love this because I think Thank You is really engaging with people through social media and stuff. And I just think that the charity has so much integrity, even to talk about their failures in a book. Like, that's amazing. So I gave it 5 stars and I would totally recommend picking this up. And the last book that I have is also 5 stars, and that is Airman by Owen Colfer. This is the fictional story of a boy named Connor who's born in 1878, and he's born in a hot air balloon. How dramatic. And he's also born with the passion to fly. So he's studying flight, he has a great family, life's going good, and then teenage Connor has everything taken away from him, his family, his whole life, and he just has to keep overcoming all of these obstacles for freedom and for his family. And the secret to all of this, the key, seems to be flight. I'd probably call it a historical science fiction or something. It just felt like an epic adventure story. I felt like I was reading a fairy tale, and it was so much fun. I just really like the spirit of this book, and I totally recommend it. So those are the books that I read. Woohoo! It was a bit of a slower reading month, but my reading tends to slow down in the middle of the year because it gets really busy, so I'm hoping it picks up. Let me know in the comments, did you do Booktubeathon? What did you read in July? What are you going to read in August? What are you going to have for breakfast tomorrow? I'm probably going to go take a bunch of pictures of my cats because they're being super cute right now and falling asleep together on my bed. Aww. But I will see you next time. In the meantime, you can watch my last wrap up because that would have been uploaded super late. So that link's going to be somewhere over here. You can click it or not. That's fine. But look down, time's running out. You don't have much time to click this link and watch this fabulous video. You're running out of time, man. You're running out of time.